Just Talking Podcast, the best 45 minutes of your life you've ever wasted. With your host, Nick, and your co-hosts, Xander Simpson and Caitlin Coles, being replaced in today's episode by Christian. Let's get talking.
I don't know, man. Got a lot of work to do.
Sounds really fun. I just started on doing year-long project for my class, and also I have also joined a another project as well, just to keep my mind stimulated because I always like doing something.
Yeah, I just recently got back into the thick of things in terms of content creation. Like I've put out a few auditions for a few fan projects, and I'm starting my own project soon.
Nice. So sorry guys for the long break. Yeah, stuff got in the way, my bad. But yeah, so I guess we're back to content creating. So anything interesting happened to you this week, or just kind of a boring week?
Just a boring week.
I recently got a new puppy, actually. She's freaking adorable, but she's the most pain in the butt ever.
What kind of puppy is it?
It is a Beagle Chihuahua mix, and her name is Luna.
Yeah, I have two dogs myself. One is a Beagle mix, and one is an abomination of sorts.
Why do you say abomination?
I can't tell what he is. When we adopted him, it said a terrier of some sort, but he doesn't look like any terrier I've seen before. Some sort of strange amalgamation of dog parts.
I never really understood the dog adoption part or the process. Is it just like you go in and sign some papers and walk out with a dog, or is it like a full throw thing where you have to do background checks or?
I think it depends, but you have to sign a sheet with all the vaccinations and things. You have to get the dog vaccinated and basically just get all the administrative processes done, and then you can just take it home. But there's typically a waiting period. I think when I got my younger dog in like Hong Kong, I waited about 2 weeks before he was ready to be adopted.
So what are the names of your two dogs?
Lexi and Chewy.
Why'd you name your dog Chewy?
It's Chewbacca from Star Wars.
I got the reference, so I'm gonna guess that it's sort of brown with black spots.
He's brown, but he's got little tufts of black fur and strange spots.
Sounds kind of odd, but cool. So apparently this week is, well, technically It's November 1st to November 8th, which runs like 2 weeks for us. But this week is French Week, or National French Week, my bad. And yeah, so all over the nation, everybody's participating in a whole bunch of like French stuff, and yeah.
Well, I've never heard of that before. I live like right next to France.
Well then, did you ever have to take a foreign language in school?
Um, French is mandatory where I live, and I took Chinese for about 5 years. And I took Spanish for about a semester.
I'm just starting French this year, so just kind of not too much, mostly just the beginnings of introductions to conversations, and also just different things like that. Although I've never actually heard anybody study Chinese, so it's a bit interesting.
Yeah, I tend to move around a lot. I started learning when I lived in Hong Kong a few years back, and I stuck with it when I moved here, and then I stopped learning. Like I stopped taking classes for it this year, but I'm sort of self-studying so I can prepare for an external exam, which like sort of proves my fluency in Chinese, I guess.
Isn't it like a whole bunch of symbols you need to remember or something? I think you mentioned it once.
Yeah, Chinese doesn't really have an alphabet like English or Korean or some parts of Japanese. Instead, for every word, they have a separate character. But those characters can be made up of sort of like smaller characters called radicals, which are sort of like an alphabet. They're more like prefixes and suffixes, or like Latin roots.
So they made their own roots in words.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a huge pain in the ass to learn Chinese or Japanese because, well, part of Japanese is literally just Chinese. So because you have to memorize for every single word a different character.
It does seem kind of tedious.
I think for my next exam, I have to learn about 1,200 characters to pass.
Dang. Are they just like normal conversational characters, or?
Um, it's enough to be able to speak fluently in Chinese. Like you'll be able to speak at a near native level in China.
Oh, so it's not like or it's like all of the words up until like you need to look up go to a dictionary and look them up.
Um, Sort of. It's sort of a mixed bunch. Like you can talk about things like in a complicated way, but you can't talk about it in a super complicated way. You know, like you could talk about politics, but you can't talk about these geopolitical atmosphere.
I never got into politics myself. It's just sort of a messy subject, and I really don't like the matter of people yelling at each other and the fact that everybody's going to try and threaten each other with nukes. So I just, stay out of that kind of thing.
Well, politics is sort of interesting, but like especially if you sort of remove yourself from it in a way, because you could just sort of it's sort of like a game in a way. It's just, well, you see how things react with each other. You see like the consequences. You can see like how it affects you. You can see how it affects other people, and how and what will happen in the future based off of it. So it's sort of like history in a modern sense.
I guess that is kind of cool. However, I just still see the fact that, behind all of the foreseeing of things, there's always the fact that it's just mostly people yelling at each other saying that they know more than the other person.
Yeah, well, that's only some. That's an aspect of politics, but it's not really like the full thing. Like, sure, you get some candidates who appeal to like the emotions of their voters rather than logic or through actual ways of accomplishing their goals. But there are some candidates and politicians who are very reasonable. Um, like,
Donald Trump, cough, cough. Just kidding.
yeah.
I'm not going to start down that path. That's a deep and dark path. That's going to take more than an hour.
In the United Nations, I know they have a very specific way you're meant to do things by, and you have to do everything by parliamentary procedure. So you have to speak in the third person because you're representing the country that you're representing a country and you're not representing your individual interests, and you have to sort of say things in a very polite manner, unlike some politicians in the United States right now.
Fair point. I I feel like if we keep talking about politics, we're gonna probably go into a conversation that we shouldn't be in. So, in that case, you got any good video games that you like playing?
I've been playing a lot of Borderlands 2 recently, just reopening it and playing it with some friends on fresh characters. I've also been playing a lot of Civ 5.
I have never I've heard of the title Borderlands, and I have never played or seen anything at all from it.
You should. It's definitely worth a try. At this point, it's an older game, but you could pick it up in its Game of the Year form at typically any sale for like $5. It's got like probably hundreds of hours of content, depending on how much you get out of your game. In terms of how much you enjoy replaying games, I should say. It's also just fun to play with friends because it's got a 4-person co-op. The story is pretty replayable. You could play through the game like 3 or 4 times. I think this is my 3rd time playing through it.
I feel like after a while, then you get pretty bored because it's just the same story over and over again.
Well, you sort of can, but then there's some things that mix it up. There's like a harder mode which scales things to, well, which levels up things a lot and makes the game more challenging. And then there's also lots of different classes and abilities you can choose. So it tends to keep it like fairly fresh each time.
Speaking of old games, I've recently been doing some Dungeons and Dragons games. Pretty fun.
The board game or like online?
Like pencil and paper.
Okay. I've always wanted to get into D&D, but I've never had like a decent amount of people who would want to do it with me.
Yeah, the problem with that is you need to actually have some people that want to do it, and then after that, you need someone who's going to be willing to run the entire game and not be a player whatsoever, unfortunately. However, they do control a lot of stuff, which I guess is fun. But yeah, so
I mean, hey, oh yeah, people, you guys you guys haven't realized that I'm going to be in this episode. Yeah, I've just been sitting here listening to it quietly and decided since wasn't able to make today's episode, I'd fill in for since Chris is already filling in for Allcraft. I was like, oh, I might as well fill in for. I realized that I'm gonna have a little bit more time than what I thought I was gonna have, so I decided to jump in on the conversation. I went to the bathroom, came back, and heard something about D&D. I'm a giant fan of D&D. I'm one of like the biggest people, which I can also segue this into Stranger Things. Do you guys watch Stranger Things?
I started about a week ago.
Yes, it's the most amazing thing ever. Anyways, without giving too many spoilers to anyone, there's these creatures in the show. For those of you listening, I'm not talking about Demogorgons. I'm talking about the Demo dogs that are shown. Yeah, I have created that
in 5e. Like, I have a D&D stat thing, and it's like, I made it on D&D Beyond. I'm like, yes, this works perfectly. And I also heard you talking about how you couldn't get a decent amount of people into a group. And the thing is, there's this online, or there's this website called Roll20. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's really useful, like really, really useful. And you can actually get a decent sized group of people. It's pretty fun. Yeah, that's how I run most of my games. I do have a group. I do have a group of my mom and my dad, my brother and my sister, and then my dad's best friend's family plays in our group too. We have two running campaigns. My dad's best friend DMs, and then I DM the other group. I DM mine's a home. We started playing. Me and him started co-DMing with each other after I played a little bit, and I'm like, I don't like this game. Not D&D, but I didn't like the module he was using. He was using Lost Mines of Phandelver. I was playing through it, and I'm just like, yeah, this is pretty fun. This is cool. And then and we were co-DMing. We failed at communicating. So basically, what happened was we ended up with, like, our players ended up getting confused. So we had to split our game, because me and him both had ideas of games to run, and our ideas really couldn't combine. So we run two separate campaigns. Mine's homebrew, and his is trying to get characters out of the situation. I play in his, and he plays in mine. We just switch between DMing the two campaigns, and it's actually pretty fun. And I'm using that demo dog in my game. It's gonna be pretty interesting. Because they're gonna have their game's gonna be turned upside down, if you get what I mean. Huh? Anybody like my pun there?
Stop the puns. That was bad. I get it. It's Stranger Things reference, but man, that was too hard. So I know, Chris, you haven't actually gotten into it too much, but Xander, I do have to ask: have you ever actually played D&D where you had models of characters that you were able to use?
Yes, I've played. Yeah, actually, my game that we played. Whenever we started playing on Lost Mines of Phandelver, because the DM, and even in our game that he DMs, the other DM, he's really traditional. Whereas I found out about D&D from them, and I played one game of 3.5 with them, and then went on to play Pathfinder in a store, and then I didn't really go to that store very often. Shout out to Game Over Comics, Card Collectibles, and Gaming. Hey, but we like I played on paper then, or played on maps, and used the character models. Except for the store, whenever I played Pathfinder at the store, we had like the little paper or the little cardboard token things. I have some of those somewhere around here in my room here. But we did that. It was really, really interesting. But I've played with models of the characters.
That's pretty cool. I'm actually starting to do game art for my year-long project, so I'm kind of actually taking some inspiration for a year-long project from Civ 5, or some of their mechanics, and also if you guys have played Ages of War, where
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's where you level up and like. You start at the Stone Age, and then you have to go through different ages, and all throughout you are fighting an alien base, and then at the end, when you're in like the future era, I guess you could call it, because everything's like so high tech, clean cut, futuristic. That's when you actually beat the alien base and you win the game.
Oh, okay. But yeah, in D&D you cannot win at all. It's very, very interesting. Transitioning over to another topic, Chris, why don't you tell them what you're doing now with Impact Media, like with our parent company, Vice President? Woo, yeah! As I've previously stated before, Impact Media is becoming Impact Holdings, and we're going to be making a few adjustments with Impact, with our name and our brand. So Christian is here to help us with our transitioning period. And then, I mean, Chris is not on here. Is not on the Just Talking podcast very often because, well, that's his new role. And I don't want somebody to be working on both. Was supposed to be working on both simultaneously, but that's not happening. James, who previously hosted on the Just Talking podcast, he could possibly be returning to help with filling in for people and being a corporate, or not a corporate, but a board of director, a member of the board of directors. Our friend Chris Baker, who's doing amazing things out in the world today, could possibly. I mean, we're trying to work with returns of some of our former members because, as you guys can tell, we're a little understaffed here after a few people left and then everything. We're understaffed here, and that's that's what we're trying to repair ourselves and fix a few things. I mean, has anybody heard anything from the CPIG podcast? Because I mean, I know that's our only competitor. Has anybody heard anything from them? Like, have they created anything new recently? I don't think they have. I think we're on top right now. That's a joke, by the way.
You're really trying too hard with these jokes. Anyways, actually, I have never heard of that podcast, to be honest.
Yeah, Gaff, who used to work here, him, Lee, who also used to work here, Maverick, I think Maverick still works here, but he used to, or I think he's a member of it too. But they were on there for a little bit. If you go back and watch one of our episodes, we make a reference to CPIG podcast, and we play like the first few minutes of CPIG in one of our episodes. And yeah, and they got really mad at me for that. Like, they were still working with us, and they got mad at me for that. They're like, why didn't you ask if you could use that footage? I'm like, well, I mean, considering you guys are members, and I figured you guys would be cool with it because we made a reference to it. I mean, I was like, I could have just cut out the references to CPIG, and you guys would have got no viewers because we all know how crappy this channel is. But I don't, There's a few people that I will never contact about returning to the podcast. Is one of them. Iggy, she's not returning. She/he, I don't really know, is not returning. Chris Baker, I originally was like, no, he's not returning. But me and him are good now. He's doing amazing things out in the world today. He's a part of some pretty interesting short films. And he's got a really busy schedule though, and that's our only problem with him coming on here. And we're not consistent and organized enough. I'm sure he'll be like, I'm sure he'll quit just by reading the chat. Because I'm like, are we recording? But he could possibly return. But yeah, CPIG, yeah, I think they've kind of just, quit. But their plan, they don't go out on a schedule like we try to do. Which again, sorry for that break. We're trying to stay consistent, but with some of us like not being available, it's like, well, do I want to host a one-person episode? We all know how seasons 1 and 2 went, so we're not going that route. But I legitimately think that CPIG is pretty much done. I believe. I don't know much. Just maybe it is. But yeah.
Yeah. So, Chris, what do you do for work? I mean, you said you had lots of work to do, and I just never asked you what kind of stuff that you do, I guess.
Well, I'm currently a student, but I am pursuing some voiceover work. I'm getting my studio set up, a home studio set up now, and yeah, I'm generally right now just practicing my craft, sort of.
That's cool. I've been working on my vocal range as it is, which kind of sucks at the moment, to be honest, because I cannot go into falsetto or even anywhere near tenor. So, I mean, I got this mid-tone, and then I can go a little bit into bass, and that's about it. So it kind of sucks at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm currently, well, I'm about to be doing nothing, but as I've mentioned many times on this podcast, I am a member of a marching band it's a lot of work, and then it's a lot of work. But soon everything's gonna stop there, and that's whenever I start loading myself with jobs to do and or things to do, and I'm gonna have I'm working on a voice acting project. It's called man, what's the name of the project? I know what it is. It's called School Days. That's what it is. It's called School Days. I play I play Mr. Ian Green. I tried writing a few episodes for the director, and the director's like, "Yeah, I don't like this," and I'm like, "Okay, so you don't like my ideas? Okay, that's okay." But I love writing stuff, and I'm not in the same mindset as the director, as the casting director, so I don't really know much into like all the what the characters would say and do, and I tried very hard to make some of it fit, but you know I uh, mm, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'm working on that. And I'm trying to fill my voice acting resume up because I want to do that. I want to be an actor, so more than just a voice actor, but a regular actor too. So you know, I want to see where things go. So
So, as it seems, I guess we are all pursuing something to do with voice acting or anything to do with audio, I guess. As of right now, I mean, obviously we're on a podcast, but yeah, so pretty cool. So, Chris, do you draw at all?
Yeah, I do dabble. I'm currently taking some lessons, learning the basics. Um, I do draw as a hobby, but not very well. But I'd like to sort of develop it into a sort of marketable skill.
I I I don't want to sound like a jerk when I say this. I sort of ran into a commission that someone asked for me to do, and I kind of didn't want to do it because I didn't feel like my art skills were any good, to be honest. Um,
Well,
and so he said it was okay. Or I told him, like I don't think I'll be able to do too good for it, and he said, okay, can you at least try? So I've tried, and apparently he's overwhelmed with how well it turned out, and I still think it looks pretty bad.
well, that's just you're your own worst critic. I mean, when you're if someone asks you to commission something, that means they've already looked at your work, they're familiar with it, and they want to essentially pay you to make something. They're already very confident in your abilities. So if someone is offering to pay you, then that should mean that your ability is on par with what they expect or above. So you should never really, I guess, put yourself down. Don't tell them that you don't think you can do it because then that lowers their expectations, and then or they're not going to expect anything good. They're going to see it in sort of a negative light.
yeah, because I mean I've worked with a lot of projects and stuff that people are working for me, and they have a really low self-esteem, or they think that their work is horrible in Freya. But a lot of people do that, and that's what they do, and it always makes your work less, like it worsens your work if you start to be like, man, this sucks, I hate what I'm doing, I'm not doing it well enough. If the person likes it, you're doing it well enough.
Yeah, well, the thing is, one, this person has rarely seen any of my work, not even close to what he was asking me about. It was mostly just because I was his friend. But also, on top of that, when I actually showed him the picture, he's like, "Wow, this is better than I expected." And I was like, you know, I feel like you're kind of insulting my art a little bit because you feel like I was going to give you something that was really bad anyways, and then now it's like, yeah, thank you for praising me, but at the same time I'm confused on whether or not you're actually insulting my work.
Yeah, that's not really a compliment. That's kind of a dick move, to be honest.
It was really
I
just
don't
not a
think
good situation.
I don't think he meant that to like seem like a jerk. I think what he did was he's like it's always good to expect worse than what you're gonna get, and in your mind you think of something and you're like, well, that's what I want, and then if somebody does better than what you wanted, well, that's what you say. I don't think that he was meaning that like as in like, well, I didn't expect this much work from you. He's just like, well, this is, because he's never received anything from you. So he knows you, and from what he knows about you, other than your work, maybe he's like, well, okay, I know you. I didn't know that you could do such a great job. Kind of like that.
That would be great, but at the same time, I still feel like it was like adding salt to wounds that I felt like I already had. So I mean, I can I can show you guys what I've had or what I have done, but at the same time, I still feel like one, it's not that good, and two, it needs a lot of work.
It's popping across your screen right now, and I want you guys to comment below how good of a job Nick did on it.
I mean, it's still nowhere near done. I still have a lot of shading to do, and also everything is done in digital art, so I'm still practicing that.
Yeah, digital art is fun. I can't draw worth a crap, but once I put it into the computer, I'm like, and have a finished project. It's great. I'm working on, I'm thinking about writing an animated series together for Impact, to pick up. If Impact gets interested in picking it up, but Impact can pick it up and use it. But I think it'll, I suck at drawing, so I'm not going to hand draw any of the characters. I'm going to actually digitally make the characters and everything. Then I'm going to go cast the people to be in the pilot episode, and then after the pilot episode, I'll see if Impact will take it. I'll see if even bigger places will take it. But But yeah, I cannot draw with a crap like in real life. I can only draw in digital.
See, that's backwards for me because I feel a lot more confident when I draw in real life, and I usually start everything out with a sketch on paper and then take a picture and move it over to digital, but at the same time, it's still...
I mean, I typically try to do it on paper first, and then maybe scan it and put it on digital. But if I don't like the result, I'm just like, you know what, screw it. I'm going digital. I use Macromedia Flash, which is an animation program. For those of you who are like, well, Flash, that sounds similar, but it's not Adobe Flash. It's actually the original Adobe Flash.
Yeah, I know what program you're using, and that's very interesting that you're using a vector-based system instead of bitmap, which is what most pictures use.
Well, I mean, typically, like I'll draw it there, and then I'll export it to an image file, such as a bitmap or something, But most of my stuff is gonna go into a video format, anyways, because I'm gonna be animating stuff, and that's why that's why I do that.
Yeah. So, Chris, have you done any digital art? I know you mentioned art, but I didn't know what type, whether it was hard or digital media.
I do have a few drawing tablets that I use, but I'm not really used to the whole tablet yet. So one of them is just primarily used for OSU at the moment, but
I've heard
yeah.
good things about OSU. I've heard good things about OSU. And, I don't know what everybody uses to draw their stuff, but I've heard a lot of good things about a lot of other programs. But I like sticking to my basic stuff, and I don't really need advanced tools if I can make it work.
I mean, I prefer using pencil and paper over the tablet, but I know eventually I gotta
do as
move
well.
over. I just gotta learn how to use it properly.
I mean, there's not much of a difference moving over, though. I mean, I personally don't use any tablets or anything, so I don't know how it works. I'm one of those people that use the regular mouse to animate. And, I get the job done, so I can't really complain much.
See, the thing is, though, with digital drawing is you have to have a whole different type of tactic when handling it, because instead of having one surface that you have to manipulate, you have a whole bunch that you usually use, which are layers. And I mean, you can make some pretty cool effects and stuff, but at the same time, it's, again, a whole different technique when trying to do things. So, yeah. Yeah.
This seems like a longer episode than what I expected it to be. Yeah, I mean, of course we're running out of time. Sadly, as we most of the time do. I mean, that'd be pretty weird if we never ran out of time. I wish that would happen. But, it happens. And yeah, so I've been Xander.
I've been Nick.
I've been Chris.
We'll see you guys next time on the Just Talking podcast. Every Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern on Impact Media. Or we'll see you guys next time on the Just Talking podcast.